Hey, welcome back. And if you are new here, I am so glad you found us. This channel exists for one reason and one reason only, to make sure that you have the information you need to protect your money, stretch every dollar, and never get caught off guard by changes that affect your benefits. And today we are talking about something that is affecting tens of millions of Americans right now. We just got the latest inflation data, and it tells us something really important about how much of a raise Social Security recipients can expect to get next year. And I'm going to be real with you, the number we're looking at has dropped significantly in just 1 month. And there are some very specific reasons why that happened, and why it could keep dropping even further before the number that actually matters gets locked in. We're going to talk about the real dollar amounts, what this actually looks like on your monthly check, and I'm going to give you the full picture, including the parts that feel a little suspicious, because I think you deserve straight talk, not spin. So stay with me. Let's break this all the way down. Real quick, before we dive in, I want you to know why I care so much about this stuff. I have been in tight financial situations. I know what it feels like to open your bank account and feel your stomach drop. I know what it means to be counting on that deposit, really counting on it just to keep the lights on or put food on the table. This channel was built because nobody was explaining government benefits and raises in plain, honest English. No jargon, no political spin, just the facts and what they mean for you. That's what we do here. Okay, let's get into it. So, let's start at the beginning. How does Social Security even calculate your raise every year? It all comes down to something called COLA, the cost of living adjustment, and the way they determine COLA is by looking at a very specific inflation measurement called the CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. That data comes out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, also known as the BLS, one time per month. The idea behind COLA is simple and genuinely good. As prices go up, your benefit check should go up with them so your money doesn't lose its purchasing power. That's the goal. That's what it's supposed to do. Whether it actually achieves that goal, well, we're going to talk about that too. Now, before we get into the numbers, I want to make sure everyone watching knows whether this applies to them, because this is not just a retiree issue. This raise affects retired workers. If you paid into Social Security and now collect a monthly benefit, yes, this is for you. People on SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, your check gets adjusted too. The average SSDI benefit right now sits around $1,630 a month, and we'll show you what 2.1% does to that in a moment. SSI recipients, supplemental Social Security for very low-income individuals and elderly adults. You're included, survivors, widows, widowers, and dependent children receiving benefits based on a deceased worker's record. And yes, veterans receiving certain federal benefits, moms who relied on a spouse's work record, people who never had a high income but paid in what they could. We are talking about roughly 70 million Americans whose monthly income is directly tied to this number. This is not a small thing, okay? Here is where things get really important and a little alarming, if I'm being honest with you. Last Friday, we got the latest inflation data from the BLS, and the key number we look at, the CPIW on a year-over-year basis, came in at 2.2%. Now, that's not your raise directly, but when you run the calculation they use to determine the actual COLA increase, what we're looking at right now is a projected raise of about 2.1% for next year. Here's what makes that significant. Just 1 month ago, based on that same data, we were projecting a raise somewhere between 2.4 and 2.5%. That is a meaningful drop in a single month, and that trend matters a lot because we're still months away from the numbers that actually count. See, the Social Security Administration doesn't use January or February inflation to set your raise. They use the third quarter, July, August, and September. That's the window. That's what locks in your COLA for the following year. So right now, we're tracking the trend, and the trend is heading downward. Let's stop talking percentages for a second and talk real money, because 2.1% sounds like a number, but what does that actually mean for your check? If you're receiving a $600 monthly benefit, a 2.1% raise means about $12 more per month. And here's the hard truth. That $12 is likely going to be completely wiped out by the Medicare Part B premium for next year, gone before it even hits your account. A $700 benefit gets you about $14 more per month. An $800 benefit, about $16 more. A $900 benefit, roughly $18 more. A $1,000 benefit, about $21 more per month. For someone receiving the average SSDI benefit of around $16 to $30, that's approximately $32 more per month. And for someone getting around the average retirement benefit of $2,000 per month, you're looking at roughly $40 more each month. Now, is $40 a month meaningful? Gone up 2.1% for the people spending the most on them. For most people on fixed incomes, this raise is not going to feel like a raise. And that's not me being negative. That's just math. Okay, I want to talk about something that I think is really important here. And I want to do it carefully because this is not a political conversation. This is not about one party or one administration. This is about a pattern that repeats itself regardless of who is in power. We're heading into midterm election season in November 2026, and historically, consistently, inflation data gets massaged in election years. We also just got jobs numbers last week that came in double expectations with unemployment ticking down. These kinds of perfectly timed, perfectly rosy numbers raise eyebrows. And when you see the CPIW drop this significantly in just 1 month after being essentially flat for nearly 2 years, you have to ask some questions. Here's the thing about the timing. The critical months for your COLA calculation are July, August, and September. Those are the 3 months that determine your raise. And think about where we are politically by then. We are right up against the midterm election. Do you think the inflation numbers being reported in the months right before an election are going to be high or low? The concern here is real. Even if actual inflation is running at 4, 5, or even 6% by mid-year, the reported numbers, the ones that feed into your COLA calculation, could be significantly lower. And that means your raise for next year could end up being very, very small, possibly even smaller than the 2.1% we're projecting right now. That's the risk, and I'd rather tell you that now so you're not blindsided later. And here's the thing that makes all of this even more frustrating. The CPIW, the formula they use, was designed for working-age urban wage earners. It tracks what commuters and office workers spend money on. It was never designed to reflect the spending reality of seniors, disabled individuals, or people on fixed incomes. There's actually an alternative index called the CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the Elderly, that tracks what older Americans actually spend money on. Healthcare, prescriptions, in-home care, and research consistently shows that switching to the CPIE would produce higher COLA raises for seniors. Advocates have been pushing for this change in Congress for years. It hasn't happened yet. So if your raise doesn't feel like a raise, you're not imagining it. The system genuinely isn't calibrated for you, and that matters. Okay, I promised you balance. So let's talk about what is working for you. First, your raise is automatic. No application, no phone calls, no paperwork. If you're already receiving Social Security, the new amount just shows up in your payment. That's one thing that genuinely works well. Second, the hold harmless provision protects most Social Security recipients from seeing their check actually decrease due to Medicare Part B premium increases. So even if that premium goes up, and we do expect it to, your net check should not go backward. Third, and this is the big one, if you are not already stacking every benefit you qualify for, this is your sign to start. Extra help with Medicare drug costs, SNAP food assistance, LIHEAP home energy assistance, state-level programs for seniors and disabled residents. A 2.1% COLAs adds $12 to $40 a month, but finding one program you didn't know about could add hundreds. That's where the real opportunity is. Here's your action plan. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and keep an eye on your benefit statements as this year progresses. Check whether you qualify for SSI in addition to your regular Social Security. Some people qualify for both and don't realize it. Call your local area agency on the aging. They're free. They know every program in your state and they exist specifically to help people in your situation. And keep watching this channel because every time a new number drops, every time a program opens up, every time there's money on the table that you might be missing, we are going to cover it. Look, I know that a $32 or $40 raise doesn't feel like victory when your grocery bill is what it is and your rent hasn't budged. I know watching these numbers trend downward while your real costs keep climbing is genuinely frustrating. You're not wrong to feel that way, but here's what I want you to hold on to. You are not navigating this alone. This community shows up every single week to stay informed, share resources, and help each other find every dollar that's available. That matters more than any percentage point. We are going to keep watching these numbers every single month and reporting back to you, especially as we head into those critical third-order months. You will not be caught off guard. Not here. If this video helped you, hit that subscribe button right now. It's 100% free, and it means you'll never miss an update. And if you want to keep going, I've linked a video right here on additional benefits you may be missing. Seriously, don't sleep on that one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next